as the sunlight disappears. The candles shine brighter and our spirits grow lighter. Shabbat is finally here. Up to meet you, we are waiting to greet you as the night is drawing near. We are lifting our voices, can you hear us rejoice as Shabbat is finally here?
I wish I could welcome you to services on this snowy Pittsburgh evening and say April Fools, but I can't because it was snowing all day long. It is still a pleasure to welcome you as we begin our evening service. If you are with us in virtual community or if you are with us here in the Beit HaT'filah, Temple Emanuel of South Hills, you heard a version D playing as we were waiting for others to join us. These words, this melody by Ellie Flyer, who's going to be our musician in residence at the end of April. We hope you will join us for those services as well, but we are especially excited to have Rebecca Clausen and Jim Burns with us, leading us in song and in prayer tonight. As we begin our service, you can find the words on page 10.
Tov, how good it is to be together, whether you're online with us, whether you're here in the Beit HaT'filah. I hope that you can help sing this song by responding, just as I sing, how good it is. Can you sing them? Oh, let's do it bigger. How good it is. How sweet it is. And that's absolutely true. So let's join in together. Let's take that energy and that spirit. If you're at home, nobody can see you dancing. So go ahead and add some feet and wiggle in your chair, and let's do it together. Hinei matov uvanayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is to be together.
I invite you to turn back in your prayer books to pages 2 and then 5. On page 2, we kindle the lights of Shabbat. We bring some much needed warmth, at least a little bit of warmth, and some light into this time of year. And it's my pleasure to invite forward the entire Letterman family who is here with us. Jack, would you bring your brother, your parents, your grandparents, Stan and Lynette, Mo, Kathy, would you guys all join us as we kindle the lights of Shabbat found on page 2.
Okay.
Please.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
Asher
kidshanu b'mitzvotav,
v'tzivanu
v'chalikner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Not an April Fool's trick, I promise. There won't be any tonight. And I invite you to grab the juice as we join together in the prayer found on page 5. There you go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Thank you all so much. Mazal tov, congratulations on a wonderful upcoming day. Praise to you, O God, sovereign of the universe, for finding favor with us, for sanctifying us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from all peoples in love and favor, giving us your holy Sabbath as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. And sanctify Shabbat we do together this evening through song and through prayer. We turn now in our prayer books to page 12. Words of Lehu Niranana, words of Psalm 95. We join in song and prayer together. We continue with words of Psalm as we welcome Shabbat, words of Psalm 96. And here's a tricky one for you. The Hebrew is on page 13. The English is on page 14. If you would rather one integrated whole, it is on page 344. I invite you to choose your own adventure as we join together in Psalm 96.
Shiru
To read the newspaper, to live in the world is an anxiety-making experience right now. And that's even if you're not planning a bar mitzvah this weekend or a bat mitzvah last weekend. There's just so much going on that fills our hearts with angst and with energy. And Shabbat, this day of rest, offers us an opportunity to simply take a deep breath, to take a step back, to focus on being rather than trying to do. And words of Lecha Dodi on pages 20 and 21 give us that opportunity to greet Shabbat's embodiment as part of our service this evening, recognizing how special it is to have Shabbat, if only for a day, if only for that opportunity to recreate and rejuvenate ourselves. We continue this evening in song and prayer on pages 20 and 21. invite you to rise.
Beit Shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha uv'sohola, tok emunei am segula, bohichala, bohichala, mikradodi, likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat, nekabela, lechadodi, likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat, nekabela.
While many of us are up already, I invite you to take this opportunity to turn to the people beside you to wish them a Shabbat Shalom, that we might join in sacred community together tonight. Oh, and friends, I invite you to take your seats again as we continue our welcoming, page 24. Having welcomed Shabbat, having welcomed one another, we turn to welcoming God's ministering angels, words of Shalom Alechem, page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Borechem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shuvchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And on pages 26 and 27, entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without God's presence. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, B'amad yivrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, uv'izman kariv v'yimeru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach, Le'alam Ulam Me'amaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitbar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yithaleh, V'yithalal, Shemei Kedusha B'richu, Le'ila Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechemata, Damiran Belma, V'meru, Amen. Our call to worship, our Baruch Hu praise, page 28. I would invite you to rise, if it's comfortable to do so, as we join in song and prayer on page 28. Would you join me in the English on the top of page 31? Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. And on the bottom of page 33, wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. As we turn to pages 34 and 35 in our prayer book, it's my pleasure to invite forward those of our 7th grade class who are with us this evening to lead us in prayer. Come on up here. Let me clear out some space for you as we join together first in our Shema declaration, page 34 and 35, and then words of Ve'ahavta on page 36. Come on over here. Let's get you all mic'd up and ready to roll. All right. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
You are welcome to be seated as we continue on page 36. 3, 2, 1.
Ve'ahavta
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're welcome to be seated for a moment. Don't go too far. We'll get you back up here in a moment, but for now, could we all turn to page 40 in our prayer books? On page 40, we find words of Mi Chamocha, our praise, recognizing the exodus from Egypt. Think of it as a precursor and preparation for Passover to come before we are ready for it. Have you begun to procure those things you're going to need? A little bit of matzah, some apples for Haroset, gefilte fish. Any gefilte fish fans? Wow. I wish you could see the number of hands that just went up in this. I don't know what to do with that. All right, page 40, Mi Chamocha. Let's go there.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, no one tehilot osef leleh, malchutcha ro'u vanecha, bokeh hayam lifnei Moshe, zerianu ve'amru, Adonai linoch le'olam va'ed.
And would you join me in the English on the bottom of page 43 as we ask for a sense of peace and protection in this troubled world? Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. And we continue now on the top of page 44, thankful, grateful for the covenant of Shabbat.
Ve'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'rit olam. Ve'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'rit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Ve'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'rit olam. Ki sheshet yamim
On page 46 and following, we find the central portion of our tefillah, these words stretching back to times of the Mishnah. In days gone by, the ancient rabbis would offer the first line of a prayer and the last line of a prayer, inviting each of us to add our prayers in between. Nowadays, we have a slightly more formulaic, a slightly more passed down through the generations version of these prayers, which allow us to share in the traditional words, but then we still offer the prayers of our heart. And so as we turn to page 46 for this section of our prayers, we join first in community. And it's my pleasure to invite forward our 7th graders to again lead us in prayer as a major part of this community. And after these prayers in which they lead us, we'll continue with the silent prayers and meditations of our own hearts. Friends, I've been kicking these stools the entire time, so they'd be here for you to use them. Slide on up there. I would invite everyone to rise on pages 46 and following as we join together.
Adonai sevatatitach ufi hagitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Eloheinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zoter Chasdei Avot Mahod, U'Nevi Gulalim Nebneihem, L'Man Shemo Le'Ahava, Melech Hazer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Zat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol atah Rav Le'Hoshia, Mashir Haruach, U'Mariv HaGashem, Mechakel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei Hakol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim B'Rofei Cholim, U'Mastir Asturim, U'Mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Avar, Nichamo Chabao Geburot, Umido Melach, Melech Menid, Umechayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'Nehemah Atalech Chayim Hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei Hakol.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, Ukdoshim b'chol yom yalu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Awesome. Thank you so much. Friends, I invite you to continue with the words of prayer that stretch through page 62 with the words of silent prayer from your own heart or the words of tradition. And when you've finished your silent prayers, I invite you to be seated. Prayer for Peace, page 60.
Shalom, Rav Yisrael, Amcha, Tasim, Leolam. Shalom, Rav Yisrael, Amcha, Tasim, Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon, lechocha shalom. Ki atahu melech adon, lechocha shalom. V'tov ba'einecha, levarech et amcha Yisrael. Bechol hituvcho sham b'shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom.
To our prayer for peace this evening, I offer another prayer for peace, written by Rabbi Leora Ezrahi Vered. Leora is an Israeli rabbi who offered this prayer in Hebrew, in Arabic, in English, following the spate of terror that our Israeli brethren have been living through. She writes, Shekhinah, source of life, master of peace, bless us, mothers and fathers, parents of generations, with a blessing of life and peace, life of security, life of tranquility, life of sustenance and comfort, life of love and continuity, life of good neighbors, life of respecting and safeguarding the divine image of humanity, life of joy, life of rain in its time, life of a beautiful, blossoming Jezreel Valley, life without needs beyond what we earn from our labors, life where we are privileged to see children and grandchildren, life of justice and equality, life of living. So shall it be your will. And let us say, Amen. To these words of peace, we add a mishaberach lecholim, a prayer for those who are suffering this Shabbat, those who are suffering from ailments of mind, of body, of spirit. Our mishaberach prayer can be found on page 253. But if there are those you are thinking of in need of healing at this time, I would invite you to offer their names, that we might not only concert our prayers on their behalf, but our healing humanity and energies as well.
Ukrainian refugees.
Gail Wilbur, Carol Jacobson.
Bev Sigmund. Linda Simpson. Steve Morris.
Baruch atah Adonai rofeh cholim. Blessed are you, God, who brings a measure of comfort to all who are ill. And together we say, Amen.
Mishaberach avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Mishaberach imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel.
move from the transcendent to the slightly more playful. Is imitation crab kosher? Think about that one for a moment. Is imitation crab kosher? Sure, why not, right? It's made out of white fish, and God knows Ashkenazi Jews love their white fish, particularly in salad form, and so imitation crab salad therefore should be kosher, right? Imitation crab's often described as the hot dog of the sea. And we're about to have ourselves a holiday where we love gelatinous hot dogs of the sea. We call it gefilte fish because we don't really like the term gelatinous hot dog of the sea, but the moral's the same. Isn't it the same food? Like fish bologna? Imitation crab? Shouldn't it be kosher? So yes, actually, imitation crab is kosher. But is it kosher to eat imitation crab? Now here's where the conversation gets a little bit more difficult. The Torah only says we can't cook a kid in its mother's milk, which we've all accepted to mean that cheeseburgers aren't kosher. Whether we follow the law or not, we understand that's what it has come to mean in Jewish tradition. We also can't eat chicken parmesan. I've not tried, but I'm told you can't milk a chicken, no matter how hard you try. So how on earth could this violate the Torah's law? It shouldn't be prohibited, it seems. But the argument hinges on exactly that, how it seems. It might seem to somebody walking by the restaurant window that I, the pious, the righteous, the Machmir Rabbi Aaron Meyer, was eating a veal cutlet instead of a chicken cutlet. So Jewish tradition prohibited eating chicken and cheese together, lest somebody be mistaken. You can't eat it, lest it seem to others like you were doing the wrong thing. You can't eat chicken and cheese, but almond milk and a hamburger? Now that is permitted. You're allowed to do that. But it looks like milk, right? So how can it be that you can have almond milk with your hamburger? You just have to leave the carton of almond milk on the table so that somebody walking by the restaurant sees not only your glass of milk and your hamburger, but also the carton of almond milk, and they say, oh, of course they're doing the right thing. But what about imitation crab? It's kosher. But is it kosher to eat it? It is, actually, with actually no concerns about packaging or marit ayin necessary. It turns out, who knew, that real crab meat salad made out of real crabs is so rare that these days when you see somebody eating crab salad, you assume that they're eating imitation crab salad. Meaning our assumption as human beings is that the crab that people are eating is fake crab. We all know that imitation crab exists, therefore it is kosher to eat it. B'te'avon. There is, of course, a deeper reason to why I'm telling you all of this kashrut legalese, and perhaps it can be summed up in the words, consistency matters. Your actions matter, from the foods you choose to eat. How others perceive what you are doing matters, whether they know you're doing the right thing. And that your actions and others' perceptions are congruous and consistent, well, that matters too. How we act, what we do, who we are matters. How our actions are perceived, received, conceived matters. And the best, and indeed the only acceptable solution in Jewish life, is when our actions and others' perceptions are both proper and consistent. Consistency matters. It's one of the main lessons from this week's Torah portion, but I thought it would be way more fun to get there by talking about imitation crab than the scaly skin affection known as tzara'at in the book of Leviticus. Yeah, it's that Torah portion. Leviticus 13 describes in really explicit detail the white, scaly infection known as tzara'at, often mistakenly translated as leprosy. The short, less gross version is that if you have a whitish skin eruption, you need to go see your priest in biblical times, who would declare that you were impure and tack on a period of isolation. If, however, that white affection has covered your entire body, meroshov ad raglav, from head to foot, wherever the priest could see, says the text, you're clean, pure, good to go, no problems. Well, you might want to see your doctor for other reasons rather than your priest. You don't have cause for ritual impurity. But how can this be, you ask? If a little bit of scaly skin affection is bad and makes you impure, how can the entirety of you covered in scaly skin affliction be good and not making you impure? It's all about consistency. Healthy skin with a little outbreak, your skin looks inconsistent. It's impure. Totally covered, not good, but at least consistent, and therefore pure. This week's Torah portion even includes a punishment for those whose skin, a metaphor for their behavior, is inconsistent. They're to be separated. They're to be distanced so that others don't learn from their destructive behavior. The rabbis the priests try to ensure that it can't spread. They didn't want anyone else to be led astray by the mismatch between the actions and how they were perceived that led to tzara'at, scaly skin affliction. Okay, I realize the ancient priests could have never imagined a future where the popularity of imitation crab could teach the same lesson as their Torah portion, that consistency is what really matters. But here we are. How we act and what we do matters. How that's understood by other people matters. You can't have one without the other, our tradition teaches us. Consistency between those two is actually what matters most. It's a lesson we continue to learn from this very day, every time we study this week's Torah portion, or perhaps every time we go to the sushi bar. Shabbat Shalom. With that knowledge in mind that it is our job and our goal to make our actions and how they are perceived, it's not enough to do good, but to allow that light to shine through to this world as our everlasting guide, we turn back in our prayer books to page 282. On the bottom of the page, we pray for a time when that shall be the case, when all will be united as we join together in prayer. I would invite you at this time, as you find page 282, to rise if it's comfortable to do so, as we join in words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, L'Teit Gedula L'Yotzer Breshit, Shelo asanu kuye aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpechot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, l'melech al kol ha'aretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo, Hu Shemo Echad. You may be seated. We turn in our prayer books to page 294 as we remember whose shoulders we stand upon, as we reach for greater heights in this world, as we prepare for words of Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's Kaddish, we remember those who have come before us. We observe the period of Shloshim for Evelyn Motzman, Mitchell Sperling, and Carol Spolter, and recognize the yahrzeit, the commemoration of the passing of Rebecca Ballin, Stephen Baskin, Phyllis Beudin, Miriam Dreyfus, Albert Fabricant, Kathy Fabricant, Bernice Gordon, Celia Perlott Guggenheim, Irving Cates, Israel S. Korenberg, Dorothy Levinson, Alma Lovner, Julius Pepper, Mary Pomerantz, Anna Ray Rosen, Mark Siegler, William D. Siegel, Charlotte H. Silverstein, Rose C. Soltz, Phyllis Stahl, Isidore Weiss, and Ethel Wise. C. Soltz, Phyllis Stahl, Isidore Weiss, and Ethel Wise. If there are others you are remembering the Shabbat, or if I have inadvertently mispronounced the name of a loved one, I would invite you to share their names at this time. Yehei zichronam livracha, may their memories be for us an everlasting blessing. This Shabbat, I would also add the names that are on our collective heart, perhaps not in preparation for this prayer, but just marking their passing, as not all of the names that I share are Jewish. I wanted to share with you those whose lives have been lost to terror in Israel in recent days. Among them are Israeli Arabs, Muslims, and Druze, as well as members of the Jewish community. So we hold them in our hearts as we offer this prayer, though perhaps the prayer not on their behalf. Amir Hori, Rabbi Avishai Yechezkel, Rabbi Yaakov Shalom, Dmitry Mitrik, a Ukrainian citizen, Victor Sorokofut, a Ukrainian citizen, Sherelle Abukart, Vizen Falach, Laura Yitzchak, Rabbi Moshe Karbitsky, Dorit Yachbas, and Menachem Yechezkel. We hold them in our hearts along with our own as we rise and join together in words of Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ma'gala uvizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei almaya, yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal, Shemei v'kudsha barich hu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemayim, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Osei shalom mimramav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. May God who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us and for all who mourn this Shabbat. And together we say, Amen. You're welcome to be seated. Before our service concludes this evening, a number of thank yous to everyone who is joining us in prayer tonight, those who are here with us in the room, as well as those who are with us in sacred virtual community. To you, Rebecca, and to you, Jim, for leading us in song and in prayer. To Leslie Hoffman, our executive director and executive producer. I need to come up with a new line because I say it often, but it's true, and it couldn't happen without you. And if you will permit me but a quick moment of logistics I should have done before the service. Leslie, is there another announcement I should be making about Oneg tonight? Excellent. So if you are with us here in the room, we would invite you to join us for an oneg immediately following our service. Cookies and coffee are to be found in the foyer as you made your way in. Last but not least, Jack, I'm so excited to get to celebrate with you and your family tomorrow. It has been a pleasure getting to know you as part of this process, all of you, and I cannot wait till we welcome the next link in the chain of Jewish tradition, the next young person to accept the mantle of responsibility for adult Jewish life tomorrow here at 10:30 in the morning. Shabbat morning services at 8:30, followed by Torah study at 10, and I would invite everyone to join us. Torah study at 9. Yes. That's why I keep you around. Thank you. Shabbat morning services at 8:30, Torah study at 9, completed by 10 so that I can celebrate with this wonderful family. Whew. I invite you to turn in your prayer books now as we conclude our service in song. Words of Ein Kelohenu. Do I at least have that right? Awesome, fantastic. Can be found on page 322 in your prayer books. Special gratitude to our wonderful 7th grade class for leading us in prayer, and their teachers, those with us in the room and those with us in virtual community. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.